Hey everybody, this is Perch. Recently, Diamond had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and it's got a lot of people in comics wondering, what happens now. And I mean, in some ways, I guess we should count ourselves lucky that, more or less, Diamond had already gotten to kind of a whimper point um, before this. The COVID hit it hard. The comeback will be bigger than the setback, sure. Penguin Random House stepping in, Lunar doing kind of their piece of it. Unless you are a particularly, blunt instrument of malcontent, i.e., some of the aging retailers who were getting kickbacks, subsidies, and other perks from Diamond that nobody else got, you fuckers. You saw this coming. Everybody saw this coming. Hell, even the people who were loudly calling DC Comics a fascist for pursuing other distribution options, saw it coming. And also, do you remember like Mile High and some of these guys going, "We're gonna stop carrying DC Comics now"? Yeah, sure you are. Sure. I mean, sorry. Um, that is a giant amount of horseshit. All these people who threaten like we're resisting. If there's one thing that, and I know it's annoying for a Gen X guy to talk this way, but this idea of the resistance, the people out protesting in 2024, 2025. I mean, it's just the year's just started and it's already stupid. I think, if you think about the protest march and the true resistance where people were willing to die for a cause, that was true resistance. Saying, I'm not going to order DC Comics anymore for sure, wink, and then you order them anyway, but you express your extreme displeasure on Twitter. You're not resisting shit. You're as much of a poser as it gets. Anyway, so Diamond, I mean, look, if this had happened 5 years ago, I think the industry would have been in a much worse shape. But happening now, the industry had already had a clear opportunity and chance to recover and go in a different place. So, it's more or less fine. It's not good that Diamond is gone. It's definitely going to cause some things to become more difficult, no doubt about it. But them kind of effing it up for the last several years has prepped everyone, of any intelligence to this moment. Anywho, let's read through this. It says this is a mail talking about Diamond and an idea of how to make Diamond sustainable. Let's see if this person has cracked it. It says, "Hey Perch, thanks for all your commentary and up to the minute coverage. Thinking about the chatter around Diamond's Chapter 11 and speculation as to what could happen over the coming months. What if Diamond became or was acquired by a non-profit like Comic-Con?" What? I'm with you, but the people behind Comic-Con are not a non-profit, just for what it's worth, as a means of prompting the art form and industry. This may be a wild idea, but the tax advantages of a nonprofit might be a mechanism to support the margins distribution operates on. Furthermore, Diamond's reach is considerable in and out of the direct market, which would be a boon to publishers and might offer an olive branch, pun intended, to the big guys like Penguin, Scholastic, Ingram, Simon & Schuster to participate in mutual events like a free comic day for start. The scope of this undertaking might be within the budget, mission, and structure of Comic-Con. And maybe we can finally have an event that shakes up the industry in a way that changing the rules would be a positive. Thanks for your thoughts. Well, look, there's some merits to this idea, but unfortunately, there's a lot of logistical reasons why it couldn't happen. First things first, like the convention makers at, the Fan Expo, the Comic-Con, they are not nonprofits. Do they build themselves that way? They are not. I assure you, it is very much a for-profit enterprise. There are institutions within it that can call themselves nonprofits, but even they're kind of skirting the rules a little bit. And if you notice that when you have entities within comics, by and large, Now, I mean, you could say the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. I mean, places like that, the Eisners. I mean, but anyone, you can't call the Eisners a nonprofit. It's like that's a weird way of. It's just weird. It doesn't work. And I can't say this for certain because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm relatively certain legally you can't call yourself that and operate the way they do. Which kind of gets to problem number two, which is as a distributor, you're basically taking content, you're doing logistics, you're gathering fees, you're turning them around. Not nothing is impossible, but it's as close to impossible as it gets to for a distributor, particularly of physical goods, where there are actual profits and losses and costs. It'd be incredibly hard at that scale to be a nonprofit. And then on top of that, if your primary product were, for sale, profit with margin material, and make matters worse, the two biggest suppliers of your material for your distribution are multi-billion-dollar entertainment companies. Um, you know, it wouldn't work. Again, nothing is impossible, but I think it's impossible. In order to be a nonprofit, you actually have to show a lot of discipline and diligence of how the business can work, where your money is going. You have heavier accounting responsibilities. It's hard to stay on the right side of the line at scale. Smaller entities can be a nonprofit. That's why a lot of them are small. It's because you don't have a lot of the logistics. It's why a lot of big ones frequently run into troubles with the law, and you hear about lawsuits and other things. It's just as close to hard as it gets, probably. So I don't see it working. You'd also, I mean, my God, the person running that show as a nonprofit would have to be like a financial wizard to stay themselves on the right side of the law. And I mean, no offense to the current leadership at Diamond, that's not. Well, we'll put it this way: if you had the financial acumen to make this work, you wouldn't be filing for Chapter 11. In this instance, you'd be a very healthy, good distributor. You wouldn't have the kind of profit. So it's unrealistic. Now, I don't want to just laugh at your idea, and that's hopefully you don't think I'm doing that. I don't mean it negatively, because there is a huge there is a huge point in what you're making here, which is comics having a entity that is a pure kind of warehouse or distributor that doesn't operate for profit, but operates at margin or operates in a way that could just be turnkey, would be very helpful to the comic book industry. It would actually, having that in place would solve a lot of problems. It would take, it would offer some stability. I mean, basically, you could pass some of that margin along to the retailer. In theory, I mean, I say this, and part of me is dying inside just by saying it. But the big comic publishers would have a little bit more cash and a little bit more operating margin on their end, that they could hire more talented people. They could afford better page rates for things, all kinds of stuff. They'd put more money into the system. Now, if Marvel or DC suddenly got more margin on their product, would they then turn around and operate at the same percentage and give that surplus to their creators? Fuck no, they wouldn't. like there is no universe where Disney's like, holy hell, we're getting an extra, we're getting extra 60 points on this product, and let's just keep operating at the same profitability we did before, and just pass all this extra money we're now suddenly getting to the creators. Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, you're laughing too right now. I'm sure it wouldn't happen, but provided all of those things were true, having the distribution become kind of nullified from a financial perspective, that's interesting. And would it provide the ability for that entity to scale? It would. Now, as I mentioned before, scaling causes new problems, but in general, it's just not. It's not feasible for this business. I think that fortunately, unfortunately, and I say this as somebody who's run lots of SMB and, cares a lot about, the small guy over the big corporation. In 2025, the distribution game, particularly for physical goods, is a big company game. The idea of a, boutique or mom and pop distributor, these guys are getting bought up by private equity. They are merging into bigger conglomerates. A lot of them are trying to get out of the game entirely. Like, the distribution business sucks. It's not a healthy game. And particularly in comics, I mean, you're talking about the margin of the margin. So, operating as a nonprofit would solve some problems. At least you take that off, but it would create a whole host of new ones in terms of, operating efficiently, the accountability. I mean, the you want the real cynical take? If a piece of the comics value chain, um, if a piece of the comics value chain is, would convert to a nonprofit, it would create so much fraud in the system. You have no idea. And that's maybe the problem. Nonprofits have a different level of accountability and accounting practices, different level of transparency, and it just like, you would be able to, because the nonprofit would take donations. It would take it just I don't trust the honesty of the people in this business anywhere close to the level of being able to have this be effective. That's my take. I wish I felt differently, but as they say, comics will break your heart, kid. Mainly because it's full of a bunch of cheats and liars. That's just how it goes. Anyway, thank you very much for the question. Thank you for the creativity. I feel like I shit on your idea a lot, and I apologize for that. I didn't mean to. I love conversations like this, actually, and it's these kinds of creative questions are interesting, and so I like it on some big level. I like it a lot. It's just, the business would make it very difficult, is my take. But again, I know this isn't as spicy for a lot of the regular listeners of the Perch Show. I won't do this because I'll forget, but I should throw like a little K-pop clip at the end, just to kind of make some people happy. But these are the kinds of conversations that I find super fun, even though they're not as exciting about of a topic as like Black Captain America, too woke lesbian writer, women, fuck it, videos are, but you can only do so many of those, right? Woke Marvel doing it again. Anyway, thanks for listening.
You make me feel special.